All right, welcome back to Waking the People with your host, Sir Chad Everett Broshears, and I am joined with my man, Patriot himself, Joshua. Take it away, buddy.
Good evening, my fellow patriots, our loyal subscribers. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and punch that bell. It helps Chad and I beat big tech and help keep snowflakes off the air so we can stay aboard. So please, it helps us beat the algorithm. We really need it. Um, it's great to see the support that we have lately, and I hope it continues to grow. So with that being said, we really appreciate it. A lot to talk about tonight, Chad. It's been interesting. I'm not sure if some of you are, I'm sure most of our listeners are living in the great state of Florida. If you're not, if you're in New York or California, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, just don't move here. But it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to talk about. It actually brings me to my very first Joshua rant. Okay, now
I'm
this
looking
is
forward to this, man. You got it. Hell yes. Give us
this
a
is
Joshua
something.
rant. It's like I've been venting for like how many, like 9 episodes now, and then fucking like just series before. Finally, let's get this rant.
I know
Wait,
Joshua, man,
hey,
because
Joshua, do we want to do this real quick? Do we want to introduce what we're actually partaking in since this is an evening
oh
episode
yeah,
and
yeah, beer episode.
6 a.m.? So, you guys in Facebook world, you can't see what Josh was actually holding up, but I will tell you because it is my favorite brewery in the United States. Actually, it's my favorite brewery, period. Sorry, local micro brews, but you guys got to grow up a little bit. It's a Yingling and it's a regular lager, which is it'll get the job done. Yeah, tasty, isn't it?
Just oh yeah. I mean, Yingling's one of those beers. Like if I ever go to a bar or go to a restaurant and I don't know what to get, like like those like a mom and pop or like a brewery or like you've never been there before. Yingling's
Yeah.
my go-to. You just ask for Yingling, you're gonna get. You're gonna get American patriotism, spirit, deliciousness in a bottle, in a tap. Doesn't matter. It's gonna be the same no matter what.
Oh yeah. Yes. It tastes like the American flag. That's what it tastes like. It's
It does.
that freaking good.
Let me
Yeah.
get ranted. We gotta get rants in here. I got it
Yeah.
built up, Chad. Okay.
Hold on. I gotta well, let me introduce mine. God damn, you are on fire. I love it. All right, everybody. When you want the cool taste of a local brewery, you can go straight to get yourself some unholy Coppertail. If you haven't had this right here, it'll put the old thing in the dirt.
That shit is really good, to be honest. Coppertail's great.
Hey, I'm trying to get sponsorship, dude. Do you mind? Don't interrupt, man. Look, Coppertail. It'll get you chasing tail.
It's a great beer, though. Like, really is. I didn't know you liked that beer. Great beer.
All right, I'm sorry. I had to throw in a little bit of a comical opportunity. And Coppertail, give us a call. We actually will entertain the idea that you could be a sponsor for us. Not just our own merch. I'll put that little Coppertail on one of our little face neck suppressors. Oh, all right. Moving on. And I apologize, Joshua. I got a little fired up there because I was trying to get us some cash.
They're
Yeah.
local, man. They're a local brewery, too. I'm
Okay.
sure they'd be more than willing to jump on. Speaking of local, this gets into my rant. This is something that not a lot of people talk about, or I guess they do talk about, but maybe they really don't break it down. One of the
Mhm.
biggest problems in our country right now, especially if you live in like Texas, Nevada, our own state, Florida, is people that live in California or New
Mhm.
York or Detroit or Michigan who live in very democratic areas.
Mhm.
And they're going through some woes as far as taxation goes, as far as maybe homeless population goes, just a lot of problems socially in their communities they live in. And they are now moving out of those communities into other neighboring states due to that very reason. What first, now I've always kind of seen this, but what first sparked my, red flag, as I like to call it, is I was listening to the show by Logan Paul, he's a YouTuber. I'm sure you've heard his name before, but he has a podcast called Impulsive, and I was listening to it, and he's very, very democratic. Like he doesn't really he's a very argumentative kind of Democrat. Like if you have a different opinion to him, it's got to be an argument right then. But anyway,
Mm.
so he mentioned that he was moving out of California because of the high taxes and the increasing homeless population. So what we got to do is, I just want everyone out there listening, if you move out of an area because you don't like the politics, you should not go to the next area and continue to vote the way you vote, because those people weren't just put in office. Like, someone had to vote for them to get in there. And it's like they don't connect the dots. It's really starting to become a problem, and it's going to affect people that live in our own community, in our own state. Because to be honest with you, Florida's got a good thing going on right now. I mean, I call Florida the last free state in the U.S., and I don't want to lose that.
No, I agree. And it's like this. It's like it's people that are kind of. I saw a meme on "Don't New York Florida." Don't come here and New York up Florida. If you're going to leave the state that is run like garbage, by all means, if it's run by like garbage, there's a pretty good chance that it's the ideology that that state has as a predominant value that put those people into office. Don't bring that ideology to the next state that has managed themselves well and say, okay, well, now we need to change it, and go to the other one. All you're doing is you're spreading a freaking ideology like a freaking plague. It's like the locusts of ideas are on their way. Don't come here and screw up Florida. Don't go to Texas and ruin it. So it's that kind of shit, man. It just gets under my skin, because it's like, it's understandable if you have ideas that you really enjoy, but the fruits of our ideas is the labor that we've been able to come up with creating the state. Or Texas is pretty damn awesome, and you can see this stuff just like it's moving like locusts. It's like somebody threw a bomb over in California because it can't even sustain itself anymore, and then they go fleeing off. I got to run over to Texas. No, Arizona's looking good. No, I need to move there because I can buy more for what I've got as far as the money that I have. But let me make sure that we get the right people in office. Let's get this equity movement going, because nothing's fair anymore. Let's go spread that stuff around. So anyway, all right, I had to jump in on that little rant.
And you have a good point, because here's what's something that most Democratic voters kind of don't understand either, in my opinion, is that the people who can afford to live in places like New York, California, some of these kind of spots where people are moving away from, are normally pretty wealthy. I mean, the average rent in LA has got to be like 5,000 plus, and you're not getting much with it. So if you can not only afford to live in a place like Los Angeles or New York, and also be able to afford to move your whole life and family and your job to another location, that means that you're pretty well off. So it's not, everyone likes to talk about more conservative or Republicans people being the quote rich people. It's something that's kind of grind my gears about the Democratic Party for a long time. And it's the people who are really pulling the strings, or the people who have the biggest say in the Democratic Party, are the people with the most cash. And there's probably just as many rich Democrats out there as there is Republicans. So that little kind of narrative that there's going on that all Republicans are rich needs to change pretty quick.
Yeah, because it's not really the idea that Republicans are supposed to be rich. It's the idea that you should be able to keep what you've worked for. And there's not a lot of Republicans that tell the Democratic Party that they need to give up what they've worked for. It's the other way around typically. But anyway, I'm not a Republican either, so whatever. I'm NPA. I'm just sitting on this side going, Republicans seem to be saying, Dems not so much. But I'm not saying they don't have some ideas that are decent, but there's definitely some ideas that are freaking horrible. So as far as that goes, I mean, shit, there's what is it? T. Boone Pickens. That's a pretty popular Republican. And that guy's a fucking nut job too. He's like, he just shows that all he cares about is the bottom line from what I've seen. I can be corrected. And I stand with science, scientific method. Hey, you need to settle down over there, Joshua.
Right. Jeffrey's trying to get his job back over here.
No, Jeffrey, by the way, we need to update everybody. Jeffrey has actually stepped out for a bit. He's taking a sabbatical. I know he just came on, but that dude was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Like, he did such a great job hanging around the place, but he did have to take a sabbatical. So he's off, like he's doing some island maintenance or some crap. I don't know what and I'm not saying he's awesome because I agree with everything. He's just a hard worker. but I do have a little something for everybody. This is actually our newest, our new producer. So
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Yep. So we actually do now have Corn Pop on staff. So if you are interested in finding out a little bit more about that event with the chain and the whole pool thing and the switch, the straight razor, he's already saying a lot of that's fake news. Yeah. So as far as that goes, just keep in mind we're going to be seeing a bit more of
Corn Pop.
All right. So keep that in mind. And I'll be asking him to do some work for us too. All right, guys and girls, cool cats. And you know what? Let's leave the kittens out and at home. Yeah, we'll leave them for now. We're actually going to be running a little short on time when it comes to the old Facebook Live. But I do encourage you guys to jump over to YouTube and start checking out some of the videos over there. We're not done with the rant just yet, but I do want to give you guys a heads up. We're going to cut the short on the video this evening so that we can continue on, because we have some other things that we may not necessarily get the greatest publicity on Facebook here soon, because they do like to censor a bit whenever there's stuff going out they don't like. And I have been a little provocative lately if you haven't been following my work. So with that, Joshua, what else you got there, brother?
So just a little teaser. We got to remind people here. It actually pertains to our rant. So next week we're going to have our first viewer, or excuse me, our first guest. Our first guest, right? He's coming on. He's got actual real world life experience. He worked for the Trump administration. He worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Still a resident of Washington, D.C. I think you guys are going to love it. He's going to bring a new twist, and he's going to give us some definitely some moderate views, which will be nice. It'll be nice to have someone who can bounce around with us and kind of feel similar to we do. And one of the topics that he's going to dive into, I'm not going to dive into it on a very, dissected level, but what about the new party, man? Speaking of party affiliation, like, you got to feel like there's a new party brewing, like that the Republican Party, like it's as much of a wreck as the Democratic Party is right now. And again, Chad mentioning that we're not really party affiliate. I like to think of myself as I have some concrete values as to what I think things should be run, and certain aspects, some Democratic views, some Libertarian views, some Republican Party views. But most of the time my vote goes to which team I think can do the best. So if there was a Democratic Party who I really liked, I'd vote for them, or Republican or Libertarian, or et cetera. But there's definitely going to be a break in the Republican Party here pretty soon. And to be honest, if you're more on the conservative side, I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to suck for a little bit, because normally party splits don't win elections, as Teddy Roosevelt and Taft figured out. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing in the long run for the conservative party, the Republican Party.
Yeah. It is going to be interesting. I don't think politics is ever going to be the same again anyway.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, we have one side, and I've seen a lot of different sources on this, where they're saying that no longer is it going to be a partisan thing. They want to go to war, one side to the other. And it's what happens whenever, you can't keep civility because of balance. Once you lose balance, you have the potential of losing civility. And that's something that I immediately see. And this is coming from the left, and they're actually saying they're going to go after the right, and the Republicans on the right. And you can see that now with, I forgot the young lady's name that decided she was going to bring her 9mm into, I believe pretty sure it was a 9mm, her sidearm into the Capitol. And refused that she said she was not going to take it off. She walked around the metal detector because she's bringing it in for her own personal protection. And they've gone after her.
Was it Taylor Green? Was it the one they let go?
Yeah, the one they removed from the committee. She's still elected. Yeah, they just committee. Unfortunately, whenever they get removed from the committees that they're a part of, they really can't show a lot of representation for the districts or the elected seat that they have. So, but that's one of the attempts to take people out when it comes to their political positions. So, and what that is it's for anybody who's like, oh, it's just her. No, it's her representing her people, and her people have a very similar set of a mindset from them electing her. And to say that, okay, well, she's not allowed to sit on a committee anymore. We got radicalists that call for, all kinds of things that let's bail out people that just got arrested because they set fire to things because they're peacefully protesting. Let's go ahead, but we're going to set up a bail fund for them or set up a fund to get their bail money. Miss, Kamala, or Kamala or whatever the hell however you say her freaking illegitimate.
Camila.
Yeah. So we have stuff like that where they can do things like that. And here's this woman who just says, I'm going to make sure I've got my own personal protection. It's interesting. This is actually, and I'm going to play this and see if anybody can hear this whenever it comes to Facebook land. But remember whenever, I'm going to get this one for everybody too. I'm going to cue it up. Everybody remembers this one, right?
I did not know if I was going to make it to the end of that day alive. And not just in a general sense, but also in a very, very specific sense.
Oh my God. This is pretty much what was happening coming from another office.
Yeah, like, I can understand if she was there, but like,
yeah,
we saw what, 2 episodes ago? Was it 2 episodes?
Yeah. Hold on, brother. I don't know if they can hear this in Facebook world. I'm gonna play it again. This is like from another office. All you can hear in the distance is this.
Y'all know me. No, we don't. Time this morning. I don't know how I earn a living. No, we don't.
Y'all know how I earn a living. No, we don't. Y'all know me. No, we don't. It's AOC's, like she's saying she was hiding, and there was the officer that went in, a white man with a black beanie, and she could see the anger in his eyes. Oh God, hold on, I got something for that too. Oh, let's get that Emmy, baby! Woo! I hope that she gets awarded the Emmy the exact same way that Como is about to get his. So, yes. So, but what you can hear is like, there was the representative that said, you weren't in danger. I was in the office next to you. I wasn't worried. Nothing was going to happen. And you put those things out hours before that stuff even happened. So, yeah, whatever. But when you throw out a bleeding heart, people do seem to want to come to the rescue, unfortunately. I'm seeing quite a few lovely friends pop up. Good to see.
It's kind of, honestly, it's kind of disrespectful to people who were actually in there and maybe been in a situation where something bad could have happened to them. I mean, a couple episodes we went over and we brought up a double screen because our technology is just vastly improving. We're like Tesla over here at Waking the People. Just wait, guys. We're going to have robot.
Easy.
Anyway.
Thanks, brother. You're getting a little excited. All right. We're not like Tesla. We're like Tesla if we were back in the Flintstone age and they were just figuring out a square wheel doesn't run as well as a circular. And we're kind of like in that in-between stage where we know it's not square. We're thinking, what is it, hexagon or something?
Something doesn't roll. But anyway, like the people who were actually there and were been like in harm's way, I would feel kind of disrespected. I would have been like, lady, you were nowhere near it. Like you were not in danger at all. And that person that you claim to have anger in his eyes, it was a perpetrator or someone trying to hurt you. It was actually a police officer trying to protect you. So,
yeah. You know what was really going on though? That officer was trying to protect her. Came in with that anger and the fire of Hades in his eyes because of this.
Or of patriarchy.
Patriarchy. I'm not going to be employable after tonight. Oh God. Well, hopefully you guys are going to start helping out over there. Can't afford these guys.
America. Listen, our goal, guys, is we're trying to get 50 subscribers by the end of March. Now, we're almost halfway there. Like we've had a real influx as far as people joining in the last couple of days. So if you guys do like the stuff we hear, or you maybe don't like it, and you want to hear other people talk about how dumb we are, please don't forget to share the video as well. That spreads it around the internet and it helps me and Chad get more views. So not only subscribe, but please share, comment, let us know what you think. We like it. We are a discussion platform.
Yes, absolutely. We want to spread this around like an unchecked STI, just get it out there. offer it to your friends. Bring them on by. No, and I'm kidding, by the way. We're a condom, you animals. So, yeah. All right. So, with that, guys, gals, patriots, colonists. No, let's not do that one. Let's say
fellow loyalists. I don't like that word either, because loyalists during the Revolutionary War were meant to depict colonists who chose the British over the American colonies. But dang it, that's all we got. We got loyalists, we got patriots. Our loyal patriot subscribers, thank you so much for listening. If you're new, please continue us over to the next channel. It's just getting started, guys. It's really just getting warmed up.
Yeah, no, we are. We actually really are just getting warmed up. We're getting more comfortable in front of the screen, although I've been doing this for 6+ years now. Joshua's finally coming around, coming out of the closet, if you will, which I'm happy to have him, especially after the cameras go off.
Bert and Ernie, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. Get on the beaker.
Batman and Robin. It takes two to
tango. Yes, it does, baby. Don't worry. We also have, we'll be able to bring Corn Pop back into this bad boy too. Yeah. So if anybody else is wondering where they can actually find out how to get closer to us, you can always do this. This is going to be an ongoing joke because Joshua's actually getting in trouble with his girlfriend in its own way because she doesn't find that funny, and he's going around his apartment saying that just at random times. He's saying, booty.
Just wait. All these people laughing right now. You know you don't
dude,
lie. You literally get up in the morning and say it.
You are absolutely right, by the way, Cindy. I'm going to throw this out there for you.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Oh, you better fucking believe it. Not even close. Oh, by the way, if anybody else is wondering what's going on in the absence of sending out aid and taking care of Texas, and I, on a serious note, do hope that the people of Texas rebound immediately as quick as possible. This is a little piece of why it's taking so damn long.
Everybody knows I like kids better than people.
Yeah, you got to have more kids in Texas, man. They'll get some relief. Oh, yeah.
Man's got his shit straight.
Yeah. Yes.
He's probably taking it with the little kids.
If anybody's wondering why I'm overusing the audio board right now, it's because I'm like a kid at Christmas. I got a new toy, and I'm loving the hell out of this thing. And I've been working my ass off on getting these clips put together so I could play it. All right, guys, gals. We're jumping off, man. Thanks for joining in. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday night. If you want to catch the rest of this episode, please jump on over to our main channel, which is YouTube and Rumble under Waking the People. Subscribe on both of them. If you go over to Rumble, by the way, we actually earn faster there if you hit the little punch thingy icon. But if you go over to YouTube, we just need to accumulate, I believe it's 10,000 viewing hours, and then we'll be able to monetize there as well. But also look for our merch. We've got, some merchandise as well. I put out the shop recently with my Teespring shop. So with that, you guys have a great night. Again, this is Sir Chad Everett Brochures. I'm enjoying myself a little bit of some copper tail. And I'm joined with my good buddy, Joshua McClendon.
Just stay golden, pony boy. All you loyal Patriot subscribers, follow us over. Just keep trucking, man. They can't keep you down. They're trying to keep you down. They're not going to do it. This is your world. They're just living in it. Just keep on trucking.
Damn right. All right, guys, gals. We'll see you later. Enjoy. All right, guys, girls, we're back. Thanks for being patient. I know that really for you guys, there wasn't any time delay, but we did everything you're supposed to do after you've been recording for a bit. And that means freshening up a few things, running off to the powder room. And no, that is not a cocaine joke. That is at least trying to make it seem a little bit more proper than saying we ran off and took our little pisses. Speaking of inebriated, damn it. My OCD just kicked in. Hold on, I got a little bit of beer on the goddamn disc. All right, let's get to our next subject. Now that we've had our little commercial break, by the way, look for the future commercials for Waking the People. And there's also P&B Creations. It's going to be getting involved with us, which is pretty exciting and fun. By the way, P&B Creations is ridiculous. So, and with that, just look for it. We're working together on this. Joshua, I'll update you on some more of the details after. But yeah, just look for it. There's some stupid funny stuff that they're working on putting together with us. So, all right, let's move into the next subject here. All right, Joshua, what do we got, my man? We got the Joshua rant was kind of like shot out and it's on its way. What else we got? Do I need to light it up for us real quick? There we go. That's a transition piece.
So I saw, I was doing some research, seeing what was going on. Earlier, we were talking about the California situation, and I noticed that there was a new policy that was put into place as far as COVID vaccine administration in the state of California, and it was a change or an amendment. I want to say an amendment, but it was because it's not really anything that's concrete. That's what kind of made me mad about it. It was almost like a look the other way in the system, and it was that they were not allowing ICE or other Homeland Security that deals with immigration agencies to go into vaccine sites that were in certain areas, and they were not allowed to conduct searches or to make people prove that they were citizens of the United States. And at first I was like, okay, well, that sounds kind of a little far offish, and maybe I should dive into it a little bit more. And the reasoning behind it is that the sector of people who are illegal immigrants in California, or especially this was in the case of Los Angeles, were spreading COVID faster than other populations. So that was what their disclaimer as far as why they chose to look the other way. After doing some research, I discovered that the population of Los Angeles is 3.9 million people that live in Los Angeles. And the population of the known illegal immigrants that we're referring to in Los Angeles is actually 4,500. So that told me that they put 4,500 lives of people who aren't legally here, not saying they shouldn't be here, but not legally here, over the actual American citizens living in Los Angeles, which are going through crazy vaccination problems, widespread of the COVID. And everyone talks about Florida, but California's COVID situation is horrible. So this is just a new thing that Newsom was the one who kicked this thing off. And that's just, it made me upset. It just didn't make me sit right.
Newsom, I am so hopeful they recall that horrible piece of crap. Oh, I hope so. God damn it. So what it makes me think of, and this is obviously pushing against another subject, but it does make me think of how Biden had his exchange with Governor DeSantis saying that he was going to restrict travel from Floridians throughout the country, but yet pays no mind whatsoever to the individuals that are crossing the border with smallpox, with tuberculosis, not being checked, COVID, things like that are just getting through the border because of these new orders that allow people in. That just and then we got all of these. We have so many double standards. It's like the American people need to bear the burden of anyone else that wants to come here and get established. But you see, the thing is, you have a well-trained population of individuals, American people, that understand the system that we abide by. We are here doing what we've agreed we would do. In return, we give money to the government that will create systems that support the entirety of our community, where we ourselves as an individual are not able to necessarily do without distracting us from our regular jobs. Like, I'm not going to go out and build a road. I'm not going to go to the schools and teach. There's so many things that we're not doing, but we give money to the government to make sure they take care of it. And then we have people coming in and they're using this jingly key thing where they're drawing these people into our country by saying it's the promised land, which it truly is the promised land as long as it stays in the capitalist system. So we have all of these people coming here to get the American dream, but the American dream is on the Americans' backs for people that aren't American until they cross into the country. But then there's an entire process to become to become a full blown American, which is the one that pays in to the system a fair share so that other people can have a benefit. That is a beautiful system that we currently have that is being taken apart by situations like that in California, where they show these seemingly subtle favoritism, where you got people that are getting these vaccines ahead of other people based off of some specific category. So they said it's 4,500 people in LA, in Los Angeles County, correct? That
Yes.
they
I think it was the city of Los Angeles is what they initially said.
city of Los Angeles. 4,500 people is the vindication, right? The justification of like giving a priority to a specific group of people. How many do you know how many of vaccines they're actually administering or that they've aligned to administer?
I didn't get that. I know they're short. Like I said, the original 3.97 million people in Los Angeles. And again, this all falls back to ICE being able to conduct searches, which honestly, if there's a shortage in a vaccine in California, then American citizens should be taken care of first. So I think it's amazing. It's mind blowing. I really can't understand it. And the one thing about immigration that kind of grinds my gears is that everyone kind of makes it almost like a moral thing. Like,
yeah,
oh, like you don't want people to be here and be safe. There's two things that people got to understand is that none of them are here the right way. So you can be, in order to be considered an asylum, okay, you have to be already in the United States and prove that by going home that you are going to be either threatened by your life, your views, detained, all the et cetera. You have to prove that bad things are going to happen, okay? So people who are here are illegal immigrants, especially from Mexico, they really can't prove that they're an asylum because, yeah, the cartels are present in Mexico, but the gangs are present in the US as well. And also most Mexicans, especially the ones in my inner group, are actually pretty pleased with how the Mexican president's doing right now.
yeah.
Flip side, in order to be a refugee, you have to be outside of the US and then prove that you need to leave that country to come back into the United States due to the same kind of threats that pose to asylum. So if you're already living in the United States and you are not a citizen, and so you're not a refugee because you're already in the United States. So it's like almost standing up for criminals in a sense, like you're breaking the law. And I know that we have plenty of ways to gain citizenship in the United States, and we should not be spending our resources on those people who are manipulating the system.
I absolutely agree that, and it does seem that it is more of a particular political party that takes advantage of the system, that takes advantage of and uses the dramatic elements in life to try to get more opportunities, more power, more drive, because they're appealing to the emotional state. So if I'm well taken care of, but something exceeds my abilities to take care of it myself, but I'm taken care of, and somebody says, well, you know, like giving charity when you go to like a grocery store and they say, would you like to give $1 to, you know, Jerry's Kids or whatever, you know, if you're in a good place, you can afford it and you're not having a problem, you throw $1 at it and then that money goes to a charity that's trying to do something to help out. But then you get to, that's on the actual money to charity immediate front. However that money gets to the kids or whatever it is, I'm not an expert at that part, but I can say that what's going on, instead of like direct money, it's using your emotions to convince you that there's a specific subject that you should actually get behind more so than other subjects. You should put your emotional and cognitive energy towards that subject, which is the political movement, but it has been hijacked where you may have something that you yourself in an individual level, if no one ever interfered with you and gave you ideas, you might take up on your own. But when they use that as a way of getting you involved in somebody else's situation in order to get them elected, because they say they're a champion for those individuals, now you've got this other person that has learned to manipulate you on a level. Now, I'm not saying every one of those people manipulate, but from what I've seen lately, and all evidence that I have actually been able to uncover leads me to believe those individuals are simply and completely manipulating people in order to get what they want. Symptoms of this is like AOC complaining that the people in her district and throughout the country cannot afford their basic needs, and we need to shift more over to a socialist system where everybody has everything taken care of. And then Amazon tries to put one of their factories or one of their warehouses out in her district, and she shuts them down. That would have provided major jobs with major income to the people that live in her district. But she elected to fight them and to stop them instead of letting them in, which tells you she says she wants people to have more money so they have an easier life, but then removes the jobs that would be necessary for them to make more money so they could have a better life, to ensure that they're going to fight over jobs, continue to be in a depressed state, and then tune in to listen to her talk about how they're in a depressed state. It pisses me off that those are our elected officials. It's not my elected officials, not my district, but they're the ones that get in. They don't get removed from committees even after making the claims they make, but yet they're going to come after our girl, Marjorie Green, over her sidearm. Fuck out of here. Oh, anyway. All right. Sorry. That was a Chad rant.
I mean, think of it like this. This is something that's become real apparent to me too lately, is that a lot of the people, especially that are more Democrats, have been really gearing towards civil rights, especially for the African American community. So if we've spent all of 2020 building up for, civil rights movements for African Americans across the board, across the United States, and that was a big factor as far as the people who voted for these candidates. And so far, I haven't seen much delivery. I mean, I read a study the other day that that more people have died from COVID-19 that were African American than they were white. So that makes me think, okay, so for a year you were telling all of us that you were going to make these big changes and you're really going to help and push the African American community, and here you are giving away vaccines to illegal immigrants who aren't even citizens of the United States, where if we are all of a sudden this influx of African American deaths in the United States, shouldn't those vaccines be used for African Americans? Didn't you talk about the injustice in our country? But here you are giving away our scarcity of resources to illegal immigrants over the very people who voted for you to be in office. It just proves how political they are. There's no delivery behind some of the stuff they say sometimes. And not to say that that's not true on Republican side too, but right now, Democrats are under the microscope because they have this media control. So we're obviously seeing like this giant gaps as far as perspectives. So I don't mean to pick on Democrats all the time, but it's just, as like someone in the middle, they just have everything out of whack. We're just not even on the same planet.
I agree. And it's so incredibly frustrating because what it does is it to me, like, all right, so whenever I talk to somebody that has I'm going to vote blue no matter what mentality, when you talk to them, you start talking like, I come from logic. I don't come from the emotional state, although I own it when I come from an emotional state. It's not that I don't come from there. I usually don't default coming from there. I usually default taking the information, understand what's going on before I produce a response. I'm not completely 100% on that. I would say I'm probably 75 to 80% of the time. That's my modus operandi, right? So you interact with somebody and immediately what we do is all of these points that make a difference to you and I, and then obviously everybody who's watching and listening to this. We think of every single one of those conversations, one of those arguments like you just made, which is there's the argument about they've been saying that minorities, specifically African-American minorities, the Black community, are more susceptible and dying in higher numbers for people that get involved with or that contract COVID. Then they make a priority of immigrants coming into the country over our Black communities. Now, they could say their argument could easily be, because it's just like chess, it's like a game of chess. They could just say, well, these people are coming into the country and we need to make sure that they're inoculated so that when they go to these communities, they're most likely going to go to these, the more impoverished communities or wherever, they can get to. they're likely going to interact with people that fall into these categories. Therefore, we're trying to cut the virus off before it gets there, versus inoculating the people that are already here, that we're using their tax money to do things like warp speed, things like that. So when we sit there and talk to somebody and they have that mindset, we're collapsing, I guess, in our position, we collapse all of these frustrating arguments and these frustrating topics that we walk away from scratching our head. We collapse those into that moment. We realize that person is not willing to logically look at the situation. And then we walk away from that particular moment only to give this to the next person as soon as we realize that, and we become fatigued from the conversation. So we're not even willing to have it anymore. As soon as somebody gives us an indicator that they're likely to share those ideas that the other persons that you've interacted with have, then you're like, I'm not even going to discuss it. And now we start creating a tribal division between us and others. So I'm not out to say that where you and I are is wrong, and I'm not out to say where you and I are is right. I would say in a logical sense, we're more accurate for the long term in the bigger picture, because we're trying to take care of everybody as much as we possibly can. So with that being said, it's another one of those little like Chad tangents where I should probably go back and say, and settle it down a little bit, maybe a little more levity and a little less significance. But point being is that we do have these individuals that they thrive on our emotional state. They challenge your intelligence, because they'll say one thing and then within 365 days, we have receipts online, video receipts of them making these statements, and then they make the judgment call they make. And then the people that they're supposedly representing don't even go back to look at the video they themselves have almost certainly seen that made them vote for them in the first place. And then they go and, oh, well, I guess maybe they do need to do something over there. And it's a shell game using emotion to get people to fall victim again and again and again. And there's a lot of us that won't tolerate it. I won't tolerate it myself. I'm not going to vote for somebody that does that kind of shit. I'm going to go after them. And if somebody says that they do that kind of stuff, I am more likely to look up any information, to try to research it, to find out if that person did indeed say that in full context, or did indeed do that in full context, not in a video excerpt that CNN put out, or MSNBC, which, by the way, MSNBC is becoming fucking crazy lately. Crazy. They're getting worse than CNN.
Really? NBC?
Yes. They're the ones that were saying that they've got this crazy ass he's ex-military. I think he was special forces. I don't remember what exactly it was, but he's saying that had the people that did the insurrection had done that in any other country, they would have been drone struck. They would have had a drone strike on them. Saying American people in another country would have been attacked by the Americans for attacking the Capitol because of what they did. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right?
Yeah. So
again, just to clarify, and this is another thing that kind of gets mixed up. Immigration and morality, or now it's kind of being intertwined with racism. That is nowhere near the truth, right? I don't care if you're from Canada. I don't care where you're coming from. We have so many ways to become American U.S. citizens, and yes, maybe we need to alter those paths a little bit to make it a little bit more, easier. But I mean, it's more about legal entry versus non-legal entry, and people are starting to kind of lose sight of the difference of those two.
Oh, hey, before we jump I'll go to our next subject where our Yeet Baby gets us there.
Yeet.
Yeah, it's coming up. I was actually speaking to a good friend of mine, and she was absolutely dumbfounded, struck, surprised that the maid that they have come to their home, who is a legal Mexican citizen or American citizen from Mexico. She's legal. She was dumbstruck that this woman supported Trump.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I can't believe she supports Trump. I'm like, how could you not believe she supports Trump? It's like, well, I was like, she goes, well, yeah. She's like, I asked her about how she felt about the immigration thing. And it's just, they need to go through the right channels. And she's like, so my friend said, well, that's just, it's crazy to me that she likes Trump. And I just simply said to her, I was like, did you ask her what she had to go through to become a legal citizen? This is, well, I just assumed she did the test and everything. And I was like, what about the illegal aliens coming in? I was like, how do you think she feels about it that she did the work to get here and these other people are coming through by coyotes, which the left is absolutely a parody of themselves, a parody of themselves. It's incredible. Remember the coyote thing? Where President Trump had said, like, they're coming over by coyotes, and these idiots, these absolute freaking idiots decided to make this like this. They came up with this meme concept where there's a coyote carrying a child over the border as an animal coming over the border. Not, well, I mean, animals, human beings are still animals, but whatever. So the coyote, fur coyote, well, I don't know what else to go with. I'm not a taxonomist. It was probably not even a word. I'm making shit up. So welcome to the new dictionary. How the Urban Dictionary did it, I don't give a damn. I'll do it myself too. Otherwise, you're racist. So you got coyotes carrying people over, and they had all these little memes and shit. They put it on the news. They tried to just position it as being like he's such an idiot. And the reality is there are people called coyotes that smuggle other people over the border for a very high price, and often with an agreement that they also pay back somewhere, whether that agreement's family in Mexico, or if it's agreements for people here, but they still a lot of money and people die in that process. And he's trying to stop it. Why are they coming across the border? Because of the promised land. Come on over here. Don't worry about it. You know, most of those people, especially from, I believe it's Ecuador, they believed that once they got here, they were going to get their own home that was going to be larger than the room that they shared. One of the individuals that was related to the guy that drowned with the girl on his back crossing the river. Remember that? It was all over the fucking news like a year ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
He was speaking about that with his family. Apparently he lived in his family's, like, it's either his or his wife, girlfriend, or whatever's home. And he just lived in the bedroom there. Like, they had the room, and they wanted to have their own house. And they believed that once they got across the United States border, they were going to have their own home, multiple bedrooms. They were going to have the American dream because they got across the border and it was going to be given to them. So anyway, there goes my rant. Let me do this. You have anything else on the subject before we go on to the next one?
Yeah, I mean, just some own personal insight as far as maybe some of you are like, oh, this Josh guy, he's the racist against Mexicans and he don't want nobody to come to the country. Well, so my significant other
Like,
is half Mexican. is she's half Mexican, and also her mother this month, Salu, celebrated her 30th year of being American citizen. She's in the United States longer. She lived in Mexico, and she did it the right way. So I have so many Latino connections that are so for Trump that it actually surprised some of my friends. So don't think that Latinos are against Trump. That was all media BS. Most of the real ones actually were for Trump and miss him now.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right. You ready for the next subject? Because I'm going to introduce it. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, babies. All right. How are we doing over there, Mr.
Corn Pop.
All right. Can we get the next subject? Can we do that one? All right.
I love it. She breaks it down, man. Straight up.
Dude, that baby, seriously, that baby needs to be on payroll.
Yep. Bring it in.
Yeah. But even though I'm absolutely positive that
Corn Pop
and that baby would work very well together. Now, actually, I've even heard that it's not even that.
You probably taking it with the little kids.
Because that's just.
Everybody knows I like kids better than people.
We know, Joe. Just go back to sleep.
We know. Just turn the reins over to Kamala so all of the Trump supporters can say, we told you so. We already knew it was going to happen. None of this is a fucking surprise. All right. Next subject, brother. By the way, if you're wondering why I keep prompting the next subject, Joshua is actually the really good host this week. I am actually the really shitty host this week because I've worked on goddamn commercial. I'm over here talking. I've been working on just getting the audio clips and stuff put together, and also some of the other background stuff. This everything you see that is a technical issue that's going on with our show is all my fault. To really be like completely like direct about it, like Joshua's been really busy and he's been working his ass off to research stuff, and he purposely, we've made an agreement, we do not talk about other than if it's just the subject, but we do not talk about the substance with each other during the week before each other or between each episode. My job is to do the technical stuff. So if this stuff is frustrating, if whatever it is that may be a technical error where you're like, God damn it, Chad, get it together, or I wish these guys would get it together, it's Sir Chad's fault. Okay. So what I've got a new Stream Deck, which has got a bunch of the audio pieces and other options. I'm learning that, and I'm working on getting it so that I can do a video and broadcast in multiple directions versus needing to do a video, record it, edit it, and then upload it and then publish it from the upload. So a lot of that stuff does fall on me, and I'm going to take full responsibility for it. And then obviously me celebrating myself over here with the Stream Deck. So every time we turn around, I'm overdoing the audio clips. Give it like episode 40 and I'll probably have slowed this down quite a bit. And it'd be like, yeah, I got one in there, but I don't care. But in the meantime, you goddamn right. It's all about the patriarchy. So let's get back to it. All right, Joshua, get to what you're absolutely amazing at, which is the next subject and the research you got in it. And I need to shut the fuck up because people are probably like, we like Joshua more anyway.
Yeah, no, Chad's our tech guy. He does a great job. Chad knows that I'm not super technical savvy. Not that I can't learn, but it makes me want to put my hand through a cardboard box. But speaking of cardboard boxes, if you're a China fan, this might not be the best episode for you. You might want to go ahead and turn this video off because China's going to get ugly. So if you don't follow China too much, especially their political stuff, there's a lot of civil turmoil that's going on in China right now as far as the genocide of this group of Muslim people that live in China. I really can't pronounce the name. Do you know how to pronounce it, Chad? Is it Uyghur? It's Uighur. Uyghur. I'm going to go ahead and say I could be saying that wrong, but the Uyghur section of people that live in China have been putting in camps.
That's the Uyghur. They pronounce. I believe that's pronounced Uyghur.
Uyghur?
Uyghur,
Okay.
like Uyghur,
Uyghur.
like Uyghur, like but Uyghur.
So
I may be wrong, by the way. So anybody watching is like, Chad's a fucking idiot. Shut up.
It's a group of, from what I understand, a prominent Muslim community that lives in China, and they've been persecuted based on their ideas.
Yeah, that's
on their religious. I mean, they've been put in camps. It's hard to get real concrete information out of China, being that it is a communist country. So as far as giving you explicit details, I'm sorry, I really can't find too much on it. They don't let you do a lot in China. But just as far as our president's right now response to it, when asked about this possible genocide that's going on in China, he simply responded with, I quote, "It's a matter of different social norms." And that made me like kind of want to go lay on 19 at 2 a.m. Just the fact that we know somewhat about it means that there's probably something going on that could use our attention, and that he's completely decided to not only shun the idea, but almost due to another topic we're going to get into later on, continue to help China out financially. It's mind-blowing.
That's, if you guys aren't familiar with what's going on over there, Joshua is far better at researching this. Now, it's not just I work on tech throughout the week, because if I worked on tech throughout the week and this is the product I come up with, I probably shouldn't do the tech work for us. We do have full-time jobs outside of this, but I do spend a lot of time. I don't listen to a lot of music personally. Like, I listen to a lot of things that help me develop. Just give me information. I want to be able to grow and develop. So some of the things that, one of the subjects that I've been following, but Joshua's got more on this at the moment than I do. But I do know that one of the things that they've been doing is they have been organ harvesting these Uyghurs, the Uyghur people in China, they're persecuted because they have a different religious belief. That is, when you boil it all down, that's why they're put into legitimate modern day concentration camps. So for most people, they're familiar with the atrocities of Nazi Germany, and like Auschwitz and places like that, where they did horrific experiments on the Jewish people. That is actually taking place today in 2021, but it's not against Jewish people, it's against the Uyghur Muslims in China. So, and here we are, we're the United States, we're the country of virtue, right? That's what a lot of us look at, right? And the promised land. Exactly. Caress it like you need
This
to
is
make
my
some money.
baby. Like,
Yeah.
baby. There's nothing. There's the three things I love the most in my life, and I hold most dear. And I'm not kidding with you. Number one is my country. Number one is my state, and number two is my state. Number three is my beautiful rat terrier named Ray, who's about 5 months old. But
Which makes you
in
do.
all seriousness, seriously, just like just the United States of America, like if you don't just think about now that we're talking about genocide that's going on today. I mean, we're not watching it on Netflix as far as World War II history, like ancient stuff. It's not really ancient, but just to think of that concept that we could allow that kind of action to go on in our own lifetime is mind-boggling. I mean, that's what the United States stands for. Is so that will never happen here.
Well, what it is we've lived in this really comfortable bubble for so long. But the thing about this bubble is, in this bubble, we've had our own chaos. We've had what we as Americans have decided is chaotic, right? Where we have this really comfortable life. We have where we may bitch about the fact we're behind on the rent or the mortgage, or not sure when the light bill is going to be paid. But what we don't have is we don't have people coming to our door to take us away because we have a different religious belief. We don't have people coming because of a political belief either to take us away yet. But what we do have is we have all of these different concerns. We have somebody just got the newer Mercedes, or you know what, I don't know if I'm going to get this other job, but if I do get this other job, I can move up in my status in life. This is in our bubble for so long. That's how we've gotten so busy, and we've justified not paying attention to the world because we have one of the wealthiest nations on the planet, and wealthy distributed throughout the population of citizens, not just wealthy by the government standards, which is why like China can be considered to be comparably as wealthy as we are, if not then more so, or will be soon, wherever it is actually in it. But it's not to the individual citizens, it's to the country. And we as a citizenship have a higher earning per individual than a lot of countries do. So we've been living in this bubble. Europe has been convicted to this as well because they've also been as successful union of nations overall. There's a lot of countries there that have been fairly successful. So we've had this bubble we've lived in, and we've been able to adjust and justify the struggles that we have in life. And we've had our struggle of not being able to find the food that we want, that meets our particular flavor or taste bud or whatever. And we have not had to deal with the struggle of finding food. We have not had to deal with the struggle of knowing whether or not somebody's going to come breaking in our door that's coming by way of the government, where you can't call the police to help you. We haven't had to deal with that. We haven't had to deal with you're getting in this vehicle and you're going from where you thought was your home and you're going to a camp. You're going to stay here. We're going to do what we want to you. We're going to take your life from you. We're going to torment you, torture you. We're going to harvest your organs. We're going to take parts of you, hair, all the rest of this stuff. This is what I'm hearing is going on in these Uyghur concentration camps. But when we look at it, we lived in this nice little bubble. And we think, you know what? We're safe. We're good. The world is not that bad because they've got to be experiencing something similar to us because we're tied in. We've got communication with Australia like this. We can get communication with any place on the world because we have the internet and we're interconnected. But you see, the thing is, a lot of that is the polished idea of what's really going on. It's not what is going on. It's what that country allows to come out, because we have so much freedom of information exchange because that's the way America works overall, that's the idea about how it works. I see the grimace look there because right now it's not really the case. And I get that because it's not. We do have censorship, but the censorship we get right now is not the government shutting down an entire sector of communication, although it's similar to what they did to Parler. The government didn't do that, but other major companies did. But imagine if a government could just do that and say, you can't exist anymore as a company or as an organization or a society. So you get that going on. And we get so used to like thinking, well, other people are experiencing our experiences. They're not, because we are in a position of great privilege, but we're in a position of great privilege because our ancestors worked so hard for it. And we also work so hard to keep our government in a position that allowed us to be able to thrive this way, where others had their interventions, like, in my opinion, what we just had in 2020 on November 3rd. That was an intervention that changed our course. Now, I don't know how long it's going to go this way, or if we're ever going to have back what we want, because I don't think we're going to get normalcy out of this. So with this, we're in this place where we're just collapsing a lot of our own experiences, thinking other people experience it. And this is the other concept of projection, where projection is what I'm doing is like, I'm just going to say you're doing it and then blame you for it. There's also the experience of I'm going through this and I'm projecting that you are as well. It's the other side of it. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and put away my Radio 6 voice and get off this major subject as if I'm some sort of informed authority. But like I did open this, I do listen to a lot. I do a lot during the day. I don't really like to listen to music. When I can, I try to listen to something that's going to inform me on world issues, as well as my predominant preference is psychology. I love learning psychology and world topics. So, all right, back to Joshua.
Yeah, just as far as connecting to the next topic, talking about more authoritarian government systems where the government entity has more money and more power than individuals do. And it makes me think about, I love that point, because some people criticize like Bill Gates, like I don't like Bill Gates either. Like he's got his own motives, but he's got a lot of money. And there's other people that have a lot of money that are more in tune maybe with what's going on and doing things for their own motive, such as maybe like an Elon Musk. So it's nice to know that there are people out there that have enough influence and enough capital to where we were in a position where we became more authoritarian, maybe what we're going right now, but they could have something to say about it. So it's good to transition to that, especially making sure that that doesn't become the norm, not only in our country, but across our state. So I saw that the Florida State Legislature, for my fellow Floridians out there, you know, I love my Floridians, that we're actually going to start. There could be a law that or an act that's passed to where Floridians who voted by mail in 2020 have to re-register in 2022, just to make sure that everyone is actually a real registered voter. They're going to redo signatures. They're going to make sure that addresses match actual residencies and not just plots of land. They're going to make sure that the people who are voting are not deceased, or they're not Mickey Mouse, so there's going to be a whole restructuring of our voting system, hopefully. But I think that'd be a great thing for Florida. I mean, I feel like I'm already pretty happy where Florida's voting system is right now, especially that we don't have the Dominion machines. Florida does not use those anymore, which is great. So we get a little bit more credible voting elections, something that we as a state can hang our hat on, so to speak, and accept. Because across the country, as we learned in 2020, that's still up for debate as far as who won, who didn't, which I feel like really hurt our election system. So that the transition to making people re-register could be a great thing for our state. And whether it passes or not, I guess we'll see. But I really thought it was a good idea.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to say about that other than it is an excellent thing to have voter integrity. And I am of the personal judgment that what happened in November 3rd was not there was no voter integrity in that. And I feel that that was absolutely staged. And I have my reasons for it. Am I completely convicted to it and ready to die on the cross? I've got one hand, both feet. The other one's just kind of like hanging there, almost ready to like just get nailed in. So that's how far I am with it. So I'm not a, it's getting to the point where people are framing it as if it is like Holocaust denying. Right, where it's like, oh, you're one of those the stop the steal people. I'm like, how about you put your pinky down, you little piece of shit, and listen for a second. That's how I feel about it, because when people say that, and I swear they frame it in that set, what goes through my mind is they're doing this, that little pinky out, like, oh, you're one of those. Exactly how I feel about it. So I have my reasons for it. You won't reach me if you're going to come across like a condescending asshole with your nose up, right? You're going to reach me by saying, well, help me understand it. And then have a real conversation with me about it. Don't straw man me. By the way, one of the fastest ways to get me to stop talking to you, straw man me. I have no time for it. I will steel man you, but if you straw man me, I walk away. I do not care. I have no time for it. The distinction, by the way, if anybody's unfamiliar with, straw man is whenever somebody creates who you are as a caricature of your idea. Steel man is where you fortify the belief, where you say, so let me help me understand what you mean by this. What I hear so far is this. Am I correct? And let you correct me if I'm wrong, so that I have a better understanding and legitimately want to understand it. That's real communication. The straw manning bullshit is one of the weakest debate tactics that anybody can use, and it pleads to the person witnessing it. Joshua says he has to fart real quick, so he's going to go for a second. But when you have that straw man position is, oh, well, you believe the sky isn't actually blue. The sky must be purple because of the way that you think about it. It's just this stupid setup. And it's a very lazy way to argue with people. And it's with the depth of desire to only argue with people. It's not argue to understand, it's argue to win. And that's what straw manning is. Steel manning is argue to understand, because you may not argue once you understand. You just get to that point. You're like, oh, that makes sense. I see where you are, and I actually am going to take some of that with me. So that's the difference between the two. All right.
Because now, I mean, conversation and a discussion are almost
tribal,
looked down upon. I mean, a great example of it, why I went to go fart was, hello, people. How does this not say I don't want to communicate? I mean, see, like the medical uses for these are up for debate. So if you're going to mandate across the board, the U.S. and I hate masks, but I mean, does this say I want to talk to you? I mean, no, right? So obviously they don't want people communicating. And there's other parts of the world where it's much more strict, where you can't even communicate sometimes about certain things. So the fact that we are still able to have these discussions about ideas is vitally important to our society. It's important to our country, and it's why we are who we are. So trying to hush people about what their ideas is completely against what America stands for. And
so that's the visual for the First Amendment, the visual.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. Nope. Covered up. Now what are they after? It's the freedom, or it's the Second Amendment. Take away those gun rights.
Yep.
Right.
Seriously, great. It's a great, I just felt that. That's why I had to run and go get it. I was like, whoa, like.
Yeah. You know what? By the way, for everybody who is watching at this point, look for our store on Teespring for the time being, as long as they're going to support us, but we'll find something else. If not, we will have some of those. And could you imagine, we're getting to the point where advertisers are so quick to try to whore out every space they can get that they're going to start treating the human body. We're already treating the human body like a NASCAR.
Oh yeah.
We're wear a Nike hat. Who gives a shit about Nike? But people are going to get it.
Yes.
So we're like, oh, you mean, okay, so we're running out of advertisement space. The hat section has been saturated. The T-shirts are all over the place. They're nullified advertising space. Nobody gives a shit anymore unless it's an obscene statement or some sort of like, okay, I recognize that. That's my thing right there. That's my tribe. Now we got this new space right here. We can advertise them. So you know what? Screw it. We're going to take advantage of that too. Go over to Teespring, find your own Victor's Secret face briefs, with the neck and the neck and mouth suppressors, and buy your own and support our channel. Go on. We've got the waking the people with a little bit of that chop chop. Let's go. Let's get some money in here so we can get our little man here.
Corn pop.
You can get him paid. Yeah.
I mean, and
All right.
the worst part, good segue. The worst part about the freaking masks is that they're made in China. So most of them anyway. And not sorry again, if you're a China fan, now's the time to tune off. So recently, Chad pointed this one out to me, is that Biden executed an executive order to revoke a Trump executive order that put restrictions on electrical equipment, especially transformers, because China is one of the number one it is the number one, not one of the, is the number one exporter of transformers in the world. And Trump was trying to maybe restrict a little bit more what countries sold us it, because when a country sells you something, sometimes they have, especially with electrical equipment or anything that's digital, they can have certain controls over, and that would put our country in a state of unrest as far as national security goes. So it's funny that they chose to do so, especially Biden, who said that this was for the reason why he canceled that executive order was to better protect the United States from climate change and more push towards the Green New Deal and ensure other various environmental factors, where here the country we're buying them from. In 2020, China added 3 times as many coal factories as they did before in 2019. So I love how our country is having to pick up the slack, so to speak, as far as climate change, air quote, goes in our world. And yeah, climate does change. It's called everything changes in the universe. It's the only constant in the universe is change. And by the way, we're still in an ice age. So it's mind blowing. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. I worked in the power industry for 9.5 years. I worked in the plant side, so power generation, distribution. You do not want individuals that put patents on things that supply life-saving options to a human being. And I'm going to expand on why I'm saying this. You don't want to give somebody patent control over something like that, because they could put in the patent that no one else is allowed to work on it, or it voids out a warranty. And if this particular item cost you $250,000 to $500,000 per unit, and you've got 500,000 units within a specific area, you don't want to start voiding out, because some of those will, if you do something to one, it voids out warranty on all. It's the financial leverage point. Am I saying that happens all of them? No, but you can put a lot of things into these legal systems like that. You do not want it set up that the only people allowed to touch it is going to be an authorized individual. You could have an authorized individual that is not from another country. Could be somebody that's actually a United States citizen, but they're only trained to understand so many pieces of it, and what they understand could very well be the piece that trips out the system, and they don't know they did it wrong. They don't know any of that. You do not want individuals like that to have power or control over your literal power. It is unbelievably scary, because if they have control over, let's say, a transformer, and that's the only thing they focused on, everything else shuts down. Because a transformer does not generate electricity. Transformer changes the current level, or it's the currency level. That's what it changes. But the power, the generator, the turbine inside of a power plant, that creates the electricity. The transformer's job is to help get it onto the grid. They don't need to control the grid. They don't need to control the plant side. All they need to do is control that one essential element that makes the difference between the plant side and the grid. We do not want that to be given to somebody else. Why would we ever give a foreign enemy control over such a vital resource of ours? Who would make such a decision? And I ask you this. I agree. Trump put America first. Trump reduced drug prices. He increased our economy. He gave us more jobs. He did a lot of stuff for us. I don't care how much you may hate him. If you don't like him, don't care. Proof's in the pudding. Gas prices were lower. We were going through a lot of things. Pedophiles were getting caught. Like, there was so many things. It was really great. I don't care if you don't like how he speaks. But what ended up coming out of it?
Lowest African-American unemployment in history. The most during Trump's, and not to cut you off, Chad, I just had to add in there. A lot of people don't know this stuff. During his 4 years, there was more socio-economical changes amongst all races in the United States in history. I mean, so that means that more Black people were making substantially more money than they were before. I mean, lowest unemployment rate in history.
Yes. And it was not at the cost of somebody else's job, like the affirmative action movement. It was everybody was getting to work. I'm not saying every single person. A lot more people were getting to work. It wasn't because somebody else was chosen over another person when there was limited job opportunities. It wasn't that. So if you don't like him, I don't care. I'm not married. I'm not on the Trump train completely. I appreciate his work. Don't care if you don't like him. But he put America first. I ask you, does increasing the drug prices, by the way, I do have a video on that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it for us today, but it was a woman that actually, she went over to get her son's insulin. He's dependent on insulin. She went to get it under Trump. I believe she said it was like $60 or $80 for the month. Now that Biden has eliminated that, the drug price is $500.
And he's lucky because she even stated in the video that he only takes it once a month. I know people who gets it weekly. So that would be before they put in that mandate. Because remember, if you're a type 1 diabetic, you cannot get off of insulin. It's a life-saving drug. You cannot live without it. And I personally know people who died during that period because they couldn't afford the insulin. Like literally it'd be $1,200 a week they were spending just on insulin because certain healthcare or just the overall over-the-counter costs were so monstrous that no one working a normal 9 to 5, lower class, or even middle class could afford to pay that.
That's insane, right? It's just like, just to think about it, that's insane. But the point is that Trump made these orders, these executive orders, to reduce life-saving drug costs. EpiPens are life-saving drugs, or epinephrine is a life-saving drug. Insulin is a life-saving drug. There's a few others, but those are the major topics because most people recognize them. And that executive order made it affordable, so people could actually they could afford other things, and it stimulated our economy, not just the drug company. Now the drug company, they were happy. As soon as they got that executive order, immediately those prices were back where they had them before, baby, which is crippling families. So this woman, it's one. There's some people that do get 2, 3, 4 boxes of this stuff monthly. If she paid $500+ for that, that's over $2,000 a month. That's exceeding most people's mortgage, or well past most people's rent.
Income, even.
Yes, even income. Yes. So what it does is that if you can't afford it, you don't get it. Right. So what does that do? It makes people go, well, I need to go on. We need better health care because you can't afford the drug prices, even with a copay. So with all of that, it's just what it does is it creates this self-fulfilling prophecy, which is it creates you're going to be in this position. So all of this stuff. And again, I'm not a Trump sycophant. I'm not. I have more conservative leaning in certain places, liberal leanings in others. It's just like where I'm at. I'm an NPA. No, but I do appreciate what he did. I don't care about how you feel about him because of the way he talks, the way he tweets. I don't care. I do appreciate linguistics, and I have studied linguistics. I love psychology. That's actually what I went to school for. So across the board, I really appreciate a lot of this stuff. So it's not like I'm some trailer park living dummy, which I'm not saying trailer park people are dummies or people live in trailer parks are dummies necessarily. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like the stereotypical like statement that people like to make where they're like, oh, they're uneducated or whatever. No. And also to say that somebody's uneducated doesn't mean they don't have value. So as far as that goes, every time I catch somebody doing that, I fucking chastise the shit out of them. Whatever. Anyway, but as far as that goes, he was pro America, America first. Then we've got this other side. This other side is we look at this. We have essential parts of our power system has been given opportunity to a foreign entity that is not our friend. They are not our ally. They are known. We are at war with them. We're not at war with them, declared. They are in economical war with us. They're competing with us for the world stage. And we give them access to our power grid. Any element of the power grid gives access to the power grid. It's a very brilliant position to manufacture a part that is in between generation and receiving, which is the grid itself offers receiving, but you have that transformer state, which is between those two. So as far as that goes, exactly where does this current president sit? I really, it almost hurts to say current president because I really don't feel like it. To me, it's an illegitimate president. Now, why? I got reasons for it. If you don't agree with it, put it in the goddamn comment section. Let's get to it. So, all right, I'm going to get away from my Jerry Springer moment where I just like lowered my voice, leveled off with the people listening, try to make sure they understand that I'm a caring individual. Now let's get back to the craziness of the world.
Yeah. It's more of a logical. I mean, I feel like part of it is that not a lot of people know about this kind of stuff. Like this isn't something you would regularly go out and research unless you were digging for more political information that most people like to consume. As far as like, there's so many distractions in our world now with Instagram and social media and just so many different things that can take your attention that thinking about who controls our power system, be that as it may, is the most important thing you could worry about. It kind of gets swept under the rug. And I feel like a lot of people who voted this way maybe necessarily don't see this side of it. Not that both political parties don't do things under the rug, but as far as the magnitude of, is it really in your best interest for China to have control of your power system? Like what? It's a no-brainer. No, give it to Earl, who works down at, Duke Energy, who shops at the same Publix that I do. It literally makes no sense. There's no reason to revoke that executive order besides for your own political agenda. So we've had 2 incidences on this show that we said that Joe Biden, one referred to as possible genocide in China as their social norm. Okay. And now we have another incident of him giving back China control of our power grid and our entire infrastructure as far as power goes. And by the way, he's already cut off our energy independent system with the pipeline shut down. So get ready for $4.50 gas. I don't want to hear snowflakes complaining because you voted for this. So, I mean, just think of it in a logical sense. And I freaking hope, I really do hope that we get this new party. I really do. Because I feel like there's going to be at least I pray, there's going to be a whole new change as far as what people really look at, what they digest. And hopefully, I mean, part of the reason why Chad and I did the show is we want people to think the way they think and not be subdued by what they see on TV. I mean, do your own diving and do your own intellectual breakdown, so to speak.
Yeah, please. Oh, there's just so much to say about a lot of this stuff. And I will say this, and then we do need to jump on to our next subject. We're going to be running out of time here shortly. I do want to say that as far as it goes, it looks like we're not even at the end of we're coming up to the end of the first month of Biden being the president of the United States, right?
Only
We're
been
coming
a
up
month?
to the end of the first month. We're
That's
we're 2 days away from inauguration for the first month.
It feels like it's been 20 years.
I know everything that's happened. So what I want to what I want to get to is like, how long do you think it's going to be before Kamala is the president? Like, how long? What's your guess? For like, so I have my guess. What's your guess, Joshua?
2022, next year.
Okay, you think 2022. For the people watching this, come up with your own guess. I am actually going to say by July 2021.
Really?
Well, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm coming up with this based off a couple symptoms. The symptoms are this: if not even a month in office yet, we're still 2 days short of a month of inauguration day, and you don't really make any action on inauguration day, so you have 22 days. So the 22nd is really the first day, if you will, right? You don't do a whole lot on the day you get inaugurated other than get drunk in the street like an asshole, take off your mask, everybody celebrates, acts like COVID's not existent. But then as soon as like people get together that don't share your political view, oh my God, you're so horrible and you're going to kill humanity. Oh, you're the problem. Oh, look, Biden won. Get your face over by mine and have some goddamn champagne. People are so fucking stupid. All right, so we got all of that right now that I have my fit. He's I don't know how many executive orders he's on right now. I have no idea. He's fucked over people that need life-saving medication,
90?
insulin, and God, who knows, man? I think he's trying to like he watched too many episodes of Dragon Ball Z, and he's trying to like level up to like super president or something. I don't know. Fucking
How many touchdowns has Tom Brady thrown?
yeah, right. It's like how many presidential levels has he achieved at this point? But what I think they're doing is he may be actually staging himself to just kind of show that he has bad choices or bad decision making for a period of time, so that he looks like he's less and less of a quality person. Because you've even heard him in a video, and we got to dig this stuff up. And again, this is on a technical guy, so it's my fault. Where he says he doesn't even know what he's signing as he's being handed another executive order. And he gets a new pen, and then he gets another executive order and the new pen, and then he just says, "I don't even know what I'm signing." Like, yeah, I'm sure whoever his handler is like, "Shut up, Joe, or we're gonna hit you again." Like we'll use cover up makeup. Shut up. Your bruise won't show. So it's like it's. I think what they're going to do is he's going to continue to do things that really just show that he's against the United States. He continues to make bad decisions. And then before you know it, it's going to be like Kamala like says, "We can't continue this, Joe. I gotta stand against you." And then she overthrows him. And the United States seems to unify under Kamala because she's the one that intervened on a tyrant. Donald Trump was really bad. So was this other guy. The problem is having these white saviors. They're the problem. I am now your new savior. I stopped these guys. We're going to make equality across the board. And from that type of action, securing a second run, even if Trump runs. So that's my prediction on it, because she's all about equality or equity. She's all about all this stuff. But we already see gas prices are going to be shooting through the roof right now. This is the beginning. This is not, oh, we're going to have to get used to another 40 cents more than what we had when Trump was in office. No, like Joshua said, get ready for $4 and plus. I think it will get higher than that.
Really?
I hope it doesn't, but I think it will, because under Obama, we got to up to damn near $5 a gallon, right?
Do you remember waiting at the gas station, hoping you got gas? Did y'all have a gas shortage? In my hometown, I was living in Georgia at the time. Literally, you had to hope that you got to the pump in time. God, I cannot believe that was not too long ago. That you were like, oh, please. I mean, it was like $50 to fill up my 10-gallon car tank. And I love how everyone's gone so silent on this matter. And Kamala, to me, is one of the biggest frauds that's ever run for office. I mean, do you know who she's married to?
No, I'm not sure who she's married to. Who was the last person she got her bruised knees on?
Oh yeah, yeah. How she got in office? Yeah,
I'm just fucking with everybody.
it's
I don't
true.
know how that is.
It's dead
Yeah.
ass. It's true. That's how
But
she got in her position.
I
But
don't know how true this is, but you will find that in our Teespring. Go to our shop, get the face mask.
listen, I'm all for equality. I'm all for. I really am. Like, uh, to be racist is to be unhuman. It really isn't unnatural. It's an unnatural act not to want to help your fellow man. It really is. And
Yeah.
I am so about that. I really am. Like I'm to my deepest being. I really am. But what makes me the most pissed off is when people use that genuine trait of human beings to help one another to then skew it to say that there are people who feel differently or are racist and they completely live their lives oppositely of what they tell people to think. And without giving you too much detail, you can go research Kamala and you can see what I mean. I'm just going to
Yeah.
leave it.
She's
Yeah.
it,
Literally, I'd rather have Hillary Clinton. I'd rather have Bernie Sanders. I'm not kidding. Put
wow.
Bernie in. Seriously. I do not like that lady. I just don't.
I apologize to nobody.
Put Bernie in. I'm that sounds crazy for me to say, but if you were to say Bernie Sanders or Kamala Harris as president, I'd say Bernie Sanders.
I apologize to nobody.
At least Bernie's actually gonna try to be a Democrat. We'll just leave it at that, you know?
Yeah. You know what really got me for Kamala is she said, believe all women during the debates. She also said that Joe Biden had relations with China and that she said that she believes all women and that Tara Reid had her accusations against Joe Biden and she believes Tara Reid. And now she's his vice president. If that does not directly challenge somebody's intelligence, you're gaslit. That's the only explanation. And the people that are not, the people that recognize it, say it, they're not victims of being gaslit, but then they seem crazy to the person that's gaslit. And the media has been in the middle doing this to us the entire time. If the media were not involved, these people would have such a small following that it would just be really to the person's merit, not to the way that they have been portrayed based off of somebody else's desire to gain from it.
Yeah. There's
So-
so many great Democratic
Wow.
candidates out there. There really is. I mean, there's Kennedy's grandson. I don't know his name, but I heard him speak and I love what he had to say.
You
I
settle
mean,
that fucking Rona down over there, okay?
Right.
Kung flu.
that Kung flu. There's a lot of Democratic candidates that I really think have great ideas and are more moderate, but we just for the media is pushing these people who are more based on control than they are policy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Wow. I know that we're supposed to have at least one more subject that we wanted to go through. I'm going to apologize to everybody, but this smooth, just a delicious copper tail.
It's a great beer.
I'm going to do it, Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, you didn't peek out. You just turned the bottle. I'm going to peek out.
Like Clockwork Orange.
Oh yeah, dude! I can't believe you even referenced that. That's awesome.
Oh man.
I'm running low on the night. It is getting into the end of our timeline that we actually have here. But I am bringing up the copper tail because it is hitting my energy levels a little bit. It's one of the consequences of doing this. I do absolutely love doing this with you, Joshua, and also for anybody who's watching. I really do enjoy this a great deal. I don't come from a position that I'm absolutely right, nor does Joshua. That's why he's my research guy, and I'm the shitty tech guy, and the comic relief at times. Although Joshua's really starting to bring that out too. But we're gonna have to cut it out here in just a minute. Do you have anything else you want to bring up before we hit the closing?
Um, I know that there was a lot of Democrat picking that goes on, and don't think that I don't have some real more left ideas. I really do. Like like even like I remember bringing this up to people during the primary election that a part of me wished that in Florida that even if you were registered to a particular party, that you could still vote in other primaries because there was a lot more candidates in the Democrat side that I wish I could have voted for because I felt like at the end we would have got two better candidates. I'm all about results. I don't care who you are, what idea you have. If you produce the best results that affects me, my family, my peers, my community, my state, my country, I'm with you, bro. Like I am with you. But when I see things that I feel like don't reflect the best interests of my, my city, my state, my community, my country, then I'm going to have to let you know that I disagree. So again, sorry for the picking on the Democrats, but the party's been kind of all over the place for a while now. And I hope it gets better. I really do.
Yeah. And I'm going to go with, if anything, perhaps we all need to learn a skill set of auditing through contradictions. And you have to know how to identify a contradiction. But every person that is exceptional at sales knows how to lead you to the conclusion that they're going to separate you from your money.
Mm-hmm.
Politicians aren't really after the money on the front end. The politicians are after your vote to get them in office.
They're sneaky.
Right. But they do want your money. They just don't want your money directly. They want to be able to get past that gatekeeper where no longer is it that, it's where the legal system comes in and says, this is where we're using your money. This is where the state steps in and says, this is where your money's going. And they get the siphon off, and there's a separation between you and the visibility of what your money's actually doing. And behind that wall is just like at the casino when you go to Vegas or any casino. You put your money in, you're playing your hopes. You may or may not win. But once your money goes past the doors, because it's no longer yours, they say where it goes. They say who gets it. They say everything. And when the politician's standing there going, that's my cut, you don't even know they did it. And then they pop back up. AOC to me is that person. Oh, she's the one that says, we need socialism. Everybody needs to have something. Everything should be affordable. Everything should be affordable. Buy my $40+ shirt. No, thank you. And when I say $40+ shirt, I mean like your cotton tee you wouldn't even pay $8 at a flea market for. But buy it because she says so. Get that bitch some horse lick or some salt lick, and let's get on with our life. Stop voting for these idiots. You got to learn how to start looking for contradictions. Once you start seeing these contradictions, stop buying a friendly face. You have to know how to look for this stuff. If you don't know how to look for it, you're going to keep voting those people in, and the next breed of them are coming, and they're going to learn from the people that have learned how to manipulate you and your parents and your family, and they're going to continue the cycle. And before you know it, we're going to have Venezuela. And I don't want to live in Venice. I don't want to live in Venezuela. So, all right,
No,
that's what I got.
Just to add into it, I love it. I mean, there's a lot of there's the two, as being in sales as Chad and I are, the two of the best salesmen that I've ever encountered are, one, preachers. Now, as a dedicated Christian, nothing against preachers, but most cases of when I've spoke to people about religion, they say that churches drive people away more so than the actual religion does. So churches and politicians. So there's a reason why they are where they are. They're great salesmen. They're going to sell you their agenda. So just make sure that we look at their agenda from a objective standpoint and seeing what they're trying to achieve. Because don't get me fooled. There's a reason why Trump is Trump, because he sold a lot of people on his real estate business. He's a salesman, right? He's selling us him. And now, is he perfect in every pitch? And do I agree with everything he's done? Absolutely not. But at the same standpoint, they are selling their idea to you. So make sure you know what you're buying.
Absolutely. You know, that, and a final note on that as well, even though I have the religious beliefs that I have or the non-religious beliefs that I have, if Jesus were to show up right now, being the concept of the perfect human being, nobody would believe it.
Nope.
So few people would even consider that it be possible.
Yep.
Because nobody who shows up right now is perfect in any way. And when they do show up as perfect, immediately they go after every single position they have as virtuous. Everything that is actually something good for you and for all of us, we fucking tear it apart. We make it into a virtue, becomes a vice. Like it's like drug prices are dropped, and then we say, well, that's not really true. The drug prices weren't dropped. Trump didn't do anything. And then this executive order is written in and it removes that. And all of a sudden drug prices jump back up. They're like, oh, no. That didn't happen in the first place. Like, you're an individual. You didn't even start this lie and you're trying to gaslight me. So to think that, like, if somebody like that were to show up now, like, we would be more like, what was his name? His wife looked back at Sodom and Gomorrah.
Or even just what happened to Jesus. I mean, he got
Yeah.
crucified. I mean, it just shows it.
So
It's,
many,
yeah, it's why it's so powerful. It just repeats over and over again.
yeah. So many of us would be, what's his name? His wife. Damn it. Turned to a pillar of salt. We would be the pillar of salt. We would look back. We would want what we think we want, and we would be stuck. We'd be petrified. Petrified based off of our past. So anyway, I'm not into giving biblical lectures or anything, because I mean, quite honestly, and a lot of people that watch now don't know that I'm actually atheist, but they don't know that. And Joshua's reborn, right?
Reborn, absolutely.
Reborn Christian. I completely support religion, absolutely, and I'm absolutely out to just get people to get the structure and learn from what's there. There's so much wisdom there. But that's not the purpose of all this. But we do need to close up. If you guys are interested in finding out more about that and how the hell did somebody like me get into a situation where I'm actually telling people to go to church, continue to watch. Continue to watch. We are in this together. And in the episode saying that, but the reality is we are in this together. And if we can't get along enough to at least understand other people see world views differently and see the world differently than we do, we're doomed. And that's why we do this. Joshua and I are trying to get people to see the world differently, enough that maybe they'll go and hug their parents. Maybe they won't want to ball up their fist at the next person that, that gets through the light, and they're the ones that get stuck at the red light, but they went through a yellow, or the division that we're so driven by. We see somebody wearing a shirt that doesn't match up with our ideology. If any other country wants to take us apart, get us to take ourselves apart, and there's nothing but they just walk in at that point. And I do feel that is a part of, that's a high probability of what's going on. So with that being said, Joshua, do you have anything for closing, my man?
Yeah, I mean, I like how you said that. Like, we're kind of in the very developmental stage of our podcast, and I like to say that we're a social science podcast. Like, don't be surprised if you hear some psychology references, some philosophy, some religion, some economics, some politics. Like, we want loads of different discussion topics. So if you enjoyed that piece about religion, we could definitely do that later on in the future. Chad and I can talk about a lot of things. So if you have watched this far, we really appreciate it. If you're a new listener, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so you can get notifications from us. And we hope you enjoyed the ride. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday night. If you live in the Sunshine State, baby, you're lucky. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. And don't forget, we got a special guest coming your way next week, okay? The first guest of the show. I know you're going to be psyched. It's going to be some great information. We might get our ass whooped in discussion, but let's do it.
I'm up for it, man. Hey, everybody, please don't forget our new employee.
Corn Pop.
Don't forget, though.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Yeah. Goddamn right he was. And we are happy to have him. So with that, let's get ourselves a little closing here. Again, this is Sir Chad Everett Brochures. I am one of the hosts here with Waking the People. I do want to make sure that I come across as responsible as I possibly can for myself, who I am every single time you watch these episodes. There's a spectrum of behavior that you can become, you can come to expect with me. Humor, intellectual aspects, and some empathic elements. You're going to find the same variables with Joshua. It's just how we express them. We seem to do it in a very interesting way that really works together well. We're not out to really offend unless it's necessary, but we're not out to do it just for offensive sake. You know, we want to do it so we can at least open up some mindsets. If you appreciate what we do, please share this with people in your life. Don't forget, hit the subscription button and also the like button. Pound the hell out of that thing, like me on a Friday night. And then share this with your friends. Leave comments in the comment section. Go to our Teespring store, Waking the People, get some merchandise. Well, I'm going to be adding eight items, maybe 9 items by Sunday of this week. So stay tuned for all of that. Subscribe, share to your friends, YouTube and Rumble, both those platforms, and BitChute. Other ones are coming. We just got to, again, that's on me because I'm a shitty tech guy. But in the meantime, though, please, we're in this together. And I definitely want to give the last word to my co-host, Joshua. So Joshua, what do you want to send us off with, my man?
Thank you guys for watching, for real. Like, you have no idea how much it means to me and Chad. Like, I love all of you so much. And even if you disagree with what I said, if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. I hope you can sense my comedic relief when I'm being sarcastic and maybe a little bit of an asshole. And it's meant to make you laugh. It's not meant to make you upset. So I really enjoyed it. I love you guys for listening. I really do appreciate it. And I cannot wait to see you next week with our special guest.
Yeah, I know I said I was going to give you the last word, but I'm going to do it. I love you.